You froze, man. Last thing I heard you say was you're going to turn your G spot on, and then you froze. So what happened?
Yeah, you started recording already? While I was doing the
Yeah,
crazy shit? That's
dude, it's
fucked
been
up.
recording. It's been recording for the past 30 minutes, probably.
I might have to fucking go in there and edit it. Anyway, welcome to the Barbecue Pit, Ian O'Leary, first episode. Easy E. Welcome, buddy. My new co-host.
Thanks. Thanks.
You know it. Gonna jump right into
What's
it.
going on, guys?
Main card picks, main card preview. Song Yadong, Casey Kenny. You jump in. Song Yadong is 16-5, 1-1, one draw, one no contest. 5-1-1 in the UFC with one draw, and one no contest prior to the UFC. Never been submitted in his career, only been knocked out once back in 2016 before he got into the UFC. He's got 6 knockout wins, 3 wins by submission. Key wins he has in the UFC are against Marlon Vera, Alejandro Pantoja, and Vince Morales. Damn. Trains out of Alpha Male with Uriah Faber, Cody Garbrandt, and those guys. He'll be going against Casey Kenny, who's a second-degree black belt in judo and a black belt in jiu-jitsu. 16-3-1, 5-2 in the UFC. All 3 of his losses via decision, never been finished. 2 knockout wins, 5 by submission. He's got UFC wins over Ray Borg, Manny Bermudez, Louis Samoka, Nathaniel Wood, and then prior to the UFC, he's got wins over Roman Salazar, Brandon Royval, and both of those fights were in the LFA right before he got into the UFC. What do you think, Ben? Who
Yeah.
you picked?
Yeah. So, talking about Song Yadong, he has a very traditional style of striking. Comes from a wushu background, which is kung fu, essentially. Just kind of like one of the various forms of kung fu. And Sando, which is like Chinese boxing. And so you see him come in with that like head hunting, kind of like, he doesn't do a whole lot of movement, kind of striking style, kind of plants his feet and throws power. And, with Casey Kenny, I like how you brought up the Brandon Royval fight in the LFA. I believe that was when he became the bantamweight champion in the LFA, but he was bantamweight champion and flyweight champion in the LFA. With this fight, it's kind of hard to pick. I think Song Yadong is really exciting, and he could probably knock out anybody in that weight class. But I really don't see him landing too many of his big power shots on Casey Kenny. I think Casey Kenny has good movement and is real savvy and crafty with the striking. So on that top of that, he's got a really strong judo and wrestling base. Casey Kenny was a 9-time national champion judo practitioner and a 2-time state champion wrestler. So he's always got that grappling base to fall back on when the striking kind of goes south. So I really see Casey Kenny being able to utilize a proper game plan and win by having a more well-rounded style and kind of more elusive movement in the striking department. So I got Casey Kenny by decision.
I agree with that. And I think Song Yadong, one of his issues with the one draw and his one UFC loss was cardio, and his cardio was kind of an issue later on in the later rounds, and that's something Casey Kenny's got a shit ton of, is cardio. And, when you have a wrestling background with good cardio, it's hard to beat. So I'm with you with that. I got Casey Kenny.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. And honestly, really, Casey Kenny's last fight against Dominic Cruz really could have gone either way, and he looked really fresh in that final round.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Probably gave it to Cruz just because it was his first one back.
Yeah.
Right?
Boom.
First one back.
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
Casey Kenny by decision.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, what we got next? We got the Tisha Torres Angela Hill fight.
Yep. Yes, sir.
All right, so we got Tisha Torres and Angela Hill. Both are pretty well-known names in that weight class. Neither really have achieved like any kind of real high rankings. But I think Tisha Torres at one point was actually in like the top 5. But both came off of that first season of the Ultimate Fighter with that weight class, where Carla Esparza became champion by beating Rose Namajunas. Both have fought Rose Namajunas. Both have lost to Rose Namajunas. However, I believe it was Tisha Torres has a win over Rose Namajunas as well. I might be wrong. One of them has a win over Rose Namajunas really early on in Invicta. So anyway, it's kind of hard to say on this fight because, neither are really ultra impressive as of late. I think probably the most impressive thing about either of those fighters is that Angela Hill has been very, very active in the last couple of years. She's 5-4 in her last 9 fights, but her last 9 fights have taken place in the last like 2.5 years. Whereas Tisha Torres, she's been, 2 fights a year, but not really one in the last year, so not nearly as active. But probably one of the most key notes about the fight is that it is a rematch. Tisha Torres has a win over Angela Hill earlier on in both their careers by decision. And if I really had to pick, I see Tisha Torres winning by decision again with this one. Angela Hill is kind of off and on. Sometimes she's on it and looks really good, and other times she just didn't look like she came to fight. I've never seen Tisha Torres look like she didn't come to fight, and most of her losses are against some of the very best in the world, from Zhang Wei Li to Joanna Jędrzejczyk to Rose Namajunas. I got Tisha Torres by decision.
I feel you on that. And just to touch on the, one of them being active and one of them not, Angela Hill is 3-2 since 2020. I think she's actually fought once or twice 2021 already. And Tisha Torres has not fought in 2021 yet, and she's 2-0 in 2020. So hasn't fought since December. Her last fight was against Sam Hughes, went to high school with us.
Shout out Sam Hughes.
Yeah, very young. And shout out Sam Hughes. Very young in the sport, though. So a huge level of step up in competition from her last fight to her fight now against Angela Hill. And most Angela Hill's losses, I believe, she kind of has a somewhat of a trouble of grappling. When people start grappling her, she gets tired. Later rounds get the best of her. Tisha Torres is a very, very good striker. So I don't see her trying to take the fight down to the ground as much as she, as much as people prior to in Angela Hill's prior fights tried to take her down. I think Tisha Torres is going to do that. So I think if she stays standing, Angela Hill is a really good point fighter as far as kickboxing goes. So I'm going to go Angela Hill decision. I think, with these women, with Tisha Torres, Angela Hill, Weili Zhang, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, all these women, they're very close in skill. It always comes down to a very close decision, split decision, unless it's like a highlight reel knockout, Rose Namajunas, Weili Zhang type thing. Sure. It always comes down to a very close decision. So I think it'll be close, but I'm going to lean towards Angela Hill on that one.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I can see that. Angela Hill does come from a kickboxing background. Apparently she was undefeated, 16-0 as a pro kickboxer. So, if the fight does stay standing, I could definitely see her winning on points that way. But I would have to assume Tisha Torres is going to have to mix into wrestling if she wants to win. You know what I mean? But
I would think so. Yeah.
See how it goes. She's the tiny tornado for a reason. She's just a wild, fucking exciting to watch fighter. But definitely decision. Neither of them are finishers really too much. Most of the wins are by decision. So, yeah.
So both of us got Kenny. I got Hill. You got Torres. Next fight is Michael Chiesa, Vicente Luque, which I think is one of the best fights on the main card. Chiesa 18-4, 11 submission wins. 11 submission wins, a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. Vicente Luque has 11 wins by knockout, but he is a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, which is one step higher in jiu-jitsu than Michael Chiesa. So, most of Michael Chiesa's wins come by submission. He's a grappler. He's predominantly a grappler. Another thing that's weird, out of his 4 losses, 3 of them by submission, Jorge Masvidal, Kevin Lee, and Anthony Pettis, 3 guys where you would think, Michael Chiesa is predominantly a grappler. Why is he getting submitted by these 3 guys who are predominantly, Kevin Lee is a wrestler, but Anthony Pettis and George Masvidal are both predominantly strikers. His one TKO loss, Joe Lozon, was his one TKO loss. Weird. I mean,
he was predominantly a grappler in his career.
Yeah, you're fighting Masvidal, you're fighting all these guys that are really good at striking and get knocked out. He didn't get knocked out. It was stoppage, but still, you got stopped by Joe Lozon. And Luque is on a complete tear right now. He's 27-1 as a professional mixed martial artist. He's 7-2 by submission. So you see, he doesn't get submitted often, and he does have 7 submission wins. He's currently on a 3-fight winning streak. TKO over Nico Price and Randy Brown, and then most recently a submission win over Tyron Woodley. So I think Vicente Luque has got a better head of steam going into this fight. He's got better jiu-jitsu according to the the belt ranking system, which I guess it could vary. You know what I'm saying? Vicente Luque trains here, Mike Chiesa trains here. It could all be up to the coaching and when they give the belts out. But Vicente Luque has shown throughout his career that he is a great grappler and even better striker. So if Michael Chiesa tries to strike with him like he did against Neil Magny in his last fight, I think that's going to be a quick night. I think Vicente Luque is putting him out quick. So I got
Yeah.
Vicente Luque KO.
Yeah, so I agree. It'd be a bad decision by Michael Chiesa if he decided to stand with Vicente Luque primarily. Chiesa is extremely strong, so he really needs to look to get him down to the ground and try to control him on the ground. However, that being said, Vicente Luque is really good on the ground, and he loves the Darce choke. I think he has 3 Darce choke wins in the UFC, one of them being Tyron Woodley. I think it's probably his best choke. And, that being said, the Darce choke's actually a pretty good choke to set up while you're defending takedowns up against the cage as well, when you can kind of circle out and get to the side and kind of take I don't really know the position called, but the kind of side back control where they're kind of turtled up and and you can lock in that Darce choke. Honestly, Michael Chiesa is really good, but I don't think he's that well proven at welterweight, although he's undefeated at welterweight so far. I think those losses at lightweight can kind of be discredited a little bit, or maybe not hurt against his record so much, because I think he never really belonged to lightweight. I think he was killing himself to get there. And like that Jorge Masvidal loss that he got submitted, that was a lightweight.
Yeah.
And that being said, some of his best submissions have been at lightweight as well, like against Jim Miller, who is a submission specialist, and Dariush, who is a ground fighting specialist, except for as of late. So it's kind of weird. I think that Luque has a better resume as far as we've shown at welterweight, and definitely more diverse skill set. Dangerous on the feet, dangerous on the ground, not going to get tired, always going to come forward and get in your face, try to hurt you. That being said, I got Vicente Luque by either submission, or I could even maybe see like a TKO at some point. But I'm going Vicente Luque for sure by some sort of finish. Just don't really know which way, but that dude's a freaking killer. He's on a roll. And one more note I will say about Vicente Luque is it really only seems that he struggles with really technical kickboxers, like with the Wonderboy fight and the Leon Edwards fight. These other guys, he kind of outworks them and has that killer instinct, puts it on guys. So I got Luque by finish of some sort.
Next one, also, I keep saying best fight in the card. That's just because I'm going to skip a little ahead, but I'm kind of assuming that the Derek Lewis Gane fight is going to go similar to Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou. But next fight up, Jose Aldo, Pedro Munoz. Give it to me. What do you got?
So, fight like this, really hard for me to make a choice on. This is the only one that I couldn't say I was confident in who was going to win. When you get Jose Aldo, resume speaks for itself. That being said, while everyone knows how great he's been in his career, we also know how much he's been struggling these last few years, particularly since the Max Holloway fight, the second Max Holloway fight. He's 3-3 since then. He's gone up to lightweight to have a fight that he won, and it was a good fight against Jeremy Stevens. And then he's gone back down to featherweight, had a loss, had a win. And then since he's been at bantamweight, he's 1-2. Now, I will say, I think he should be 2-1 at bantamweight. I think he beat Marlon Moraes. I think Marlon Moraes won the first round, but Aldo controlled the second and third round. And I think he honestly, I don't want to say robbed, because I don't think it was like that terrible, but I think he should have won that fight. So I think he should be 2-1 at bantamweight. He's kind of in that weird group where he's getting old. He kind of seems sometimes like he's gun shy and timid, and he doesn't really want to throw. Everyone always has the question of like, why doesn't this man throw leg kicks anymore? If he would just throw leg kicks, he would tear these guys apart. Plus, that loss to Jan probably really did some damage to him. But then he comes back with the win against Vera. So, Aldo, it's kind of a up in the air kind of thing, whether or not Aldo's really going to come out there and perform. But man, when he's performing, that dude is explosive as hell and can really put it on you in the stand-up. And there's really no chance that he's going to get taken down by Munoz, I don't think. But going over to Munoz has a super solid jiu-jitsu game, really, really good on the ground. And he's just gotten better and better and better with his boxing. So he's also 1-2 in his last 3. Coming off a win against Jimmy Rivera, where he looked really, really good with the leg kicks and the boxing. He had Rivera hurt early in the fight. Rivera looked good as well with the injury, though. So it might even speak more to the fact that Munoz couldn't put Rivera away while had him injured. To be honest with you, man, I could see this fight going either way. I could see it going Jose Aldo by decision. I couldn't see it going Jose Aldo by TKO. Munoz has never been knocked out. And he's been in a lot of wars with guys like Cody Garbrandt, Jim Rivera, stuff like that. So I could maybe see Munoz, TKO, and Aldo if Aldo gets sloppy. I don't think that's going to happen. I can certainly see Munoz winning by decision. I think it's a toss-up fight going to decision.
Who are you picking?
Toss-up. I can't make a pick.
Pick a pick.
Either way.
Got to pick.
I got to pick. I've got to pick.
Gun to your head.
Pedro Munoz. Decision.
All right. Two things I wanted to point out that just seem like cool facts that, a few things that you said kind of reminded me of them. You said that Jose Aldo is aging, he's getting a little old. I found it very surprising that both of these men are 34 years old, the exact same age. A lot of people think, Jose Aldo should be way older. Pedro Munoz. Pedro Munoz is new to the top of that division. Jose Aldo's king of featherweight for a long time. He's been around a very long time.
Yeah.
Being the same
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, really weird.
Wow.
Another thing is that Jose Aldo only has one submission win on his entire career, although he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He has only had one submission win, 17 knockout wins.
He likes these things right here.
Yeah, I know. I go back when I'm trying to make the pick. I just go back to what they've done recently, and Munoz with the Rivera win, the win over Garbrandt. I think Jose Aldo, like you said, should be 2-1 at bantamweight, and he's kind of trying to reinvent himself at a lower weight class. So I think, Munoz, Rivera, Garbrandt, I think Jose Aldo has a little bit more to lean off of going into the fight. So I agree with you. It's very close, but I'm going to go Jose Aldo on that one. Probably decision. Which brings us to the main event, Cyril Gane against Derek Lewis.
Right, everyone's paying to see.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think this is going to be a lot like Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou for two reasons. For one reason, because Derek Lewis is very, very, very experienced. He has 33 professional fights going up against Gane's 9 professional fights. Gane also didn't fight his first professional fight until August of 2018. He made his debut in the UFC August 2019. What the fuck is that? That's weird ass, dude.
What you got?
I don't know, but it sounded like somebody out there fucking with me, but it probably is an animal.
You out there in the country now.
I don't know. Anyway, Derek Lewis started his career in 2010. He's got wins over very experienced guys, Gabriel Gonzaga, Roy Nelson, Travis Brown, Francis Ngannou, Alexander Volkov, Marcin Tybura. Very experienced. He won that fight against Ngannou because he didn't commit to the striking because he knew about Ngannou's power. So he played with a good game plan. And we were talking about this the other day. When it comes to these top-level guys, it comes down to game plan. It comes down to how well you execute your game plan. And Gane is going to have the speed advantage. He's going to have the athleticism advantage, the striking, the power. All that shit's going to go to Gane. But if Derek Lewis could come in with a better game plan, and he's got very good takedown defense, so if Gane tries to go that way and he could stuff a couple of takedowns, maybe get Gane tired a little bit, he could have a good game plan and could win the fight. I think if you're going to put money on it, it'd be hard to put money on Derek Lewis because, in all the fights that we've seen him win, the Alexander Volkov fight, he won with a last-second knockout. He was getting the shit kicked out of him the entire fight and then lost the last-second knockout. The fight against Francis Ngannou was a very boring fight because neither one of them would commit. And honestly, you could say, how could you really say Derek Lewis was the definitive winner of that fight? Because neither one of the guys, what they have, like not even 50 to 60 strikes combined.
Yeah, I think like 30 something.
So it's hard for me to call. I wouldn't want to put money down on this fight at all. I just like Derek Lewis to the point where I'm okay with saying that I'll pick Derek Lewis based off bias.
Man, you pretty much hit exactly how I feel about this fight. You got Gane, who by all rights should absolutely win this fight, like 50-45 decision, if he just implements the right game plan. And I think he really can. Gane's a really patient guy with the striking. You see it with his fight with Volkov just recently. Volkov is a very technical striker, but he kind of is fine with getting into a brawl. He doesn't have the greatest striking defense, whereas Gane he always makes sure that he's in the right spot. He's got his feet in the right way so that he can circle out a certain way, so that he can avoid being hit and so that he can hit. He's very fast, very in and out, always bouncing on his toes. So really, if he just fights his game, that same game plan, I don't ever see Derek Lewis catching him with that big shot that caught him off guard. I think Gane should be able to kind of coast to winning each and every round. That being said, though, the crazy fucking thing about Derek Lewis is all these fights that we said the other guy should win, or even the whole fight, the other guy is winning. Derek Lewis all of a sudden cleans their fucking clock. You got the Volkov fight where he knocked him out in the last few seconds. Thing about it is, he's getting beat up. He doesn't have the greatest cardio. He admits that. He's worked on it, and I think he's gotten better with it. I think he's gotten more athletic as well. He's definitely gotten better with the cardio. Yeah.
Also in the embedded series, he looks like he's in very, very good shape. Like he looks like he's in the best shape he's ever been in coming into a fight. So he doesn't look like he could have worked on his cardio. It could mean a different kind of cardio for Derek Lewis coming into this fight.
Yeah. Well, I hope so, honestly, because I'm with you. I like Derek Lewis a lot. I want Derek Lewis to win. I think it'd be incredible to see Derek Lewis fight for the UFC championship again against someone who's not going to take him down and choke him out like Daniel Cormier.
We'll be going against Gane.
But yeah, so yeah, dude. And that rematch, with the way the first fight went, that rematch has to be fireworks. It's going to be fireworks. And Ngannou's going to come out there with something to prove that, the first fight was a fluke. I wasn't in my right mind. I can kill this guy, dude. And Ngannou is going to come out there. If they match that fight up again and try to kill Derek Lewis, man. And the thing about that is Derek Lewis might just catch him first, bro. So, yeah.
So you got Lewis.
Yep. Derek Lewis by knockout, second round. So go back to what I was saying before the timeout. Derek Lewis also has extremely good timing with his punches. Very evident with the Curtis Blades fight where he knocked him out. I mean, beautiful knockout. He timed it at the right time. He even said that was his game plan to time that punch. Beautiful timing with the punch. And then so my thing about, it doesn't seem like he's going to win, and then he knocks the guy out towards the end of the round or in the end of the fight. It even happened with Junior Dos Santos. Junior Dos Santos was fucking him up, and he ended up TKO and Junior Dos Santos later in the fight.
No, Lewis knocked out by Dos Santos.
Dos Santos
knocked him out, yeah.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yes, sir.
He TKO'd him for real?
Yeah.
I was about to say, I was gonna start guessing myself thinking that Dos Santos won by decision.
No, he TKO'd him.
Did he really?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Oh man.
That I was like, damn, Junior Dos Santos, when the fuck did that happen? I don't even remember that.
Well, anyway, that's just how much I like Derek Lewis. I just forgot about the times he lost. But so, like with the Volkov fight, waited to the last minute and went after him. I think, when it comes down to a 5-round fight, the guy could be beating Derek Lewis the whole fight. But by that 5th round, he's kind of tired. Derek Lewis anticipating, waiting till the end of the fight to kind of explode at him. They see it coming. You can predict that it's going to happen. But by that time, his opponent's kind of tired, getting kind of sloppy, and Derek Lewis is waiting for that right moment to explode and take him out. Even if they see it coming, a lot of times they just don't have anything they can do about it. I don't think that would work on Gane. However, what I do think would work on Gane is early on in the fight, waiting for that right time to explode and knock him out. I think that certainly could catch him. And additionally, if Derek Lewis initiated the grappling with him, if he trusts his stamina to hold up, if he grappled with him, put him up against the cage and tried to drop bombs on the exit, I could see him maybe winning some rounds as well. So it could even be a decision win. But that's just not the way he fights. Yeah, I got Derek Lewis by 2nd round knockout.
Really quick before we wrap up.
Or Silicon by unanimous decision, 50-45.
Not allowed. Not allowed. Real quick,
all right.
Give us a prelim fight that everybody needs to watch. Everybody needs to keep their.
Yeah, so in the prelims, man, my favorite fight in the prelims is Manel Kape versus Ode Osborne. Both super exciting strikers. Ode Osborne's kind of the guy who wants to throw a lot of flashy stuff. He moves around a lot. He throws like, the spin kicks and stuff like that. Whereas Manel Kopp, I think he has that in his arsenal, but he's more of like a really explosive, fast, technical kickboxer. I like O'Day Osborne a lot as well, so it might be, my own personal feelings about it. I think he's a really good guy. He's a 5th and 6th grade math teacher from Milwaukee, and when his debuted in the UFC, they showed all the students like cheering him on from the hallways and stuff. So you kind of get that feeling of like, I want this guy to win and do well. Then he came out and he's really exciting, but then he lost kind of quickly because he didn't really have the rounds in the gym with the grappling. So he got submitted pretty quickly in that debut. I haven't seen him fight since. I don't know if he did fight since, but I'm excited to see him perform again. Now, Manel Kopp, I have watched a couple times now since he's been in the UFC, and I heard about him before he came to the UFC. Everyone was saying he was going to be the next champ. He came in, he lost his first fight in the UFC. Didn't really look like he was willing to pull the trigger, but still looked like he had some potential. And he came out in his next fight, and he won that fight as everyone expected him to. So I think he's kind of gotten his head right, under the lights, the pressure, or whatever it was that caused him to kind of have a slack first fight in the UFC. I think it's gonna be a really explosive, awesome, fun, striking fight between the two guys.
I agree. I think that's one of the best fights on the prelims by far. I also like Bobby Green versus Rafael Fiziev. Fizev's great, a great striker. He's got great head of movement. Bobby Green has come into himself recently. I think he's on a 2 or 3 fight winning streak right now. I mean, I think maybe he lost his last fight. Did he lose his last fight? Either way, he's been doing very well as of recently. I think he had a long layoff after he came back from the long layoff. He won 2 or 3 straight. His boxing looks extremely crisp, and a great boxer going up against a great, Muay Thai kickboxer like Rafael Fiziev is an amazing matchup. And I think Bobby Green's got good cardio, and he's very, very tough. He won't be easy to knock out, and Fiziev's got power in his hands and kick. So we'll see what happens with that. Right, I know I said that was the last thing, but real quick before we go, I got a riddle for you.
You got a what for me?
A riddle.
You got a riddle for me? Well, hold on. Before you do the riddle, for the last thing before we go, Bobby Green did lose his last fight to Thiago Moises, but he won 3 before that. Lando Venata and a couple other guys. So he's been doing good lately, but yeah, he did lose his last fight. And I got one quick fact that I forgot to mention earlier with the Vicente Luque fight. Did you know that Vicente Luque, before he was in the UFC, fought Thiago Santos at middleweight and beat him by TKO?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, right?
He TKO'd Thiago Santos, bro. Holy shit, man. That's crazy. All right.
Well, Thiago Santos moved up a good bit in weight, too. He was kind of like an Anthony Johnson type thing. So, there's probably a couple guys that got that knocked out Thiago Santos on their record, Or at least
maybe
beat
so,
him.
yeah.
Beat him,
Yeah. Well, Luque, too. Luque kind of was like a 50% fighter for the first, 12 fights of his career, and then started doing really well, too. So, yeah. All right. What you got for me? The riddle.
All right. You got to tell me what creature I am talking about, okay? What is 6 feet tall, dark, handsome, and can be gone within a second?
Oh, man. 6 feet tall, dark, handsome. It could be gone within a second. Obviously, it's me.